Guys, how's it going? Back into New York for tonight. Ooh, clear sky too. What time is it here? It is 10:01. Okay. Well, the sun must have just set, judging by the interesting little pattern, the way the lines do that. I don't know if it's the way my brightness is on the TV now, and it just shows up a little bit more, and it's kind of cool. Ooh, hello, moon. Yeah, that's pretty close to what the moon I'm seeing tonight too is. I was just noticing it's set. That's cool. So the clients get it, but the server doesn't get the moon in the right spot. So, but anyways, it is, I don't know, the 26th. I think it's the 26th. It's past 10 o'clock. Yeah, we'll see what's going on. Oh. Heading west. He's interesting. I haven't run an Amtrak. It's gonna run a local, but you know. Problem is, I don't know where all the stations are. Well, I do, but he seems interesting. Wherever he went to. Hello. You're around here somewhere. You. Well, gotta be getting close to the control point, I imagine. Headed off to about 270.
CSX, equipment defect detector, milepost 280.0, track 2.
He looks like fun. There's a ethanol thing. Crude oil. To Albany. I'm not too sure which way I bring them then. That's okay. I'll figure it out. Well, now that I look at that, maybe I'd be better off. Where'd the passenger train go? He's way up there.
CSX, equipment defect detector,
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I got three westbounds.
0.0, track 2, no defects. Total axles 290, end of transmission.
This is just outside of DeWitt, so moonlit night. Dick. Off we go. Portland, Albany. You gonna catch up to anybody? Probably not. Unfortunately, it's like a conveyor belt, but got lots of traffic. I don't know about that Amtrak. It's cool that the Amtrak's running. It's just they'll catch up to them and then they'll never get by. But then they can never get ahead of them either because... Oh, there he is. Feel up to it last night, and then I actually got into the programming mode, so it seems like a good relaxing run. And as much as I ran the server, I really didn't run too many trains from end to end, so not to say that I'm going to be running end to end tonight, but that was a non-whistle crossing, but I'm not sure. I'm closer to the TV, but I can't tell. I'll honk anyways. Next one I'll pay attention more. I don't think he has non-whistle slot. Maybe he does, I don't know. Wake everybody up anyways. Sure, that was a regular whistle. But... there. Gotta lean up. I gotta actually sit up and lean forward to see. By so fuzzy. It looks like a whistle point, but I can never tell. I'm closer to the TV, but I can never tell unless I stand and look straight at the damn screen. Stupid high def. At least I can read the signals better, though. But then again, it's at dark, so I can tell sometimes in the dark. So it looks like tomorrow night I'm going to do some more programming. At least that's the plan right now. Busy day, but we get better tomorrow. least it looks like. Gosh. Oh, I do have levels. Some speed control. I was wondering what the hell that was. The moon shade. Moon on the shade. Apparently. Yeah. Westbound. Ooh, he's a shorty. What was that? Wow, that thing was short. you pay attention to what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. Passed. I don't know what it was. It was weird. It was only like I was surprised to see it. I was like, huh? 1,028 feet. Well, I guess I don't know. I imagine that was a randomly generated one, but interesting. Being that small. It's strange. Oh well, whatever. I'm surprised to see it. So I was talking last night about what I may or may not do if I do put a Selkirk Mohawk server back up at some point. I don't know if Mikey emailed me last night telling me he liked the programming and he wanted to see more of that, which of course I'm going to do that for sure. It's definitely cool to hear from him. I asked about a few things as well pertaining to the route. I'll probably what I should have done. And I meant to do this tonight and I totally forgot, was I was going to run some tests on the hump to see which tracks gave me the problems and which ones don't. thinking about this today. So I was thinking about this today, and I thought, I remember external dispatcher. Now, mind you, external dispatcher doesn't work for A-line, but I was thinking about that today, and I thought, I'm wondering if external dispatcher can take a player train. And I'm talking about the not the external dispatcher itself, but the actual code. And actually take a spawn train and turn it into an AI. Because I do remember buttons or whatever in external dispatcher where you could at least relinquish it, do a few other things, but I'm wondering if you can do it from that or you can't. Yeah, I like this one. This is one of those lines where you, I mean, regardless of, you know, the beauty of the line and everything, it's, I mean, when I was running in Florida the other night. Now, mind you, I was in a little bit brighter before sunset, so I saw a lot more. But we also, I was getting grade crossings like crazy and different speeds, and it was actually kept me on my toes a lot more. This one, I'm basically checking the speed right now. I'm at 55. I got it at notch 8, just because I couldn't hold 55 at 7. So I've got the speed control on at 55, notch 8. And it's just cruise control right now. I'm just watching the signals and hitting the alerter, and that's about it. There's not too much to see. Whoops, here we go. There's a whistle point in a truck. So I was thinking of at some point, like some of the ideas like that I'm thinking. Because I know Mikey watches when he can. He'll watch the live streams too. So I asked about the hump. I had, you know, he's pretty busy too. So I hadn't heard too much more about that. If there was another update coming down the road, or if he's got anything in mind. But I mean, I would certainly like to see the hump get a little bit better. Because that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed sitting in the tower and watching the trains coming through and then dispatching, and at least focusing my efforts on Selkirk. If I can do that and have one person, and I think I could probably count on one person. Okay, I don't want to dispatch.
CSX equipment defect detector milepost 262.2 track 2. track 2, no defects. Total axles 290, end of transmission.
So yeah, some of the things. Hold on, I'll read this first. So, some of the things that I can think of that could really help at Selkirk specifically, although there's other areas I could see where it could benefit as well. Definitely the hump tracks for sure. That's something that, for me personally, to really give Selkirk Mohawk a go, I need that hump to work. The good part is RTS, when done, I might be able to work around it, but there's still some other weird issues going on with small cement car strings, although I may not have too many of them. I don't want to run into a situation where I'm constantly having to play around with a hump because it misfires or shuts down on me or stuff like that. And there's going to be reefer traffic and all that other stuff too, so that's, you know, reefers, auto racks. I can keep the auto racks blocked, which is something you can't do in Run8 version 2 right now. RTS will have the blocking available once we get to that point. But I'd rather, hopefully, and no guarantees because who knows what's going to happen 6 months from now, but if that's how long it takes me to do it. But like I said, no guarantees. I may suddenly, you know, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, my interests could change. I could see something that I didn't see in another route or something like that. Like Florida's going to change. So I don't, you know, it comes down to what we've got right now. If more people were running, could be interesting, especially when you get locals. When you get locals involved in this line, suddenly it really can make the dispatching interesting, in that otherwise it's just basically a conveyor belt with some Amtraks to cause some interest. That's about it. I mean, I'm running, so I'm not going to dispatch while I run. I normally don't dispatch while I'm running a main line. Rule of thumb. That was a shorty, too. Wow, those... I don't remember that many short trains, so that's kind of odd. Strange. But lighting's another thing, because I do like to run through the entire 24 hours. I don't want to run a 24/7 server personally. I just want to be able to continue a session where I had saved it, continue off where I was before, and just keep going. But definitely seeing some lights, more lights in Selkirk will help. I mean, I was commenting the other night when I was running Florida, I was getting into the dark, and I was really enjoying it, despite the fact that, you know, it was a little brighter than it is here, but I was enjoying it because I could see various street lights. I could see various buildings lit up. There seemed to be a little bit more life to it. Whereas right now I feel I mean, there's definitely a lot of great trees and all that. I know there's not that many buildings out here. I know there's certain roads. I believe the I-190 is not too far away. Well, not the 190, the 90. So I don't know how far it actually is, and I know trying to model a streaming bunch. I mean, I'm seeing these crossings here, and you can see the cars going and stopping here. So that's pretty cool, but just to have some buildings and stuff would be kind of cool. Would make it a little bit more, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the scenery, I still say the scenery is the best scenery out there. It's just, unfortunately, the line itself. It's like, I give you an analogy. There's a stretch of highway, not too long, like within a few hours. Actually, when I go to Fostoria, Ohio, and I'm heading from where I am between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, in southern Ontario, I head across on one of the major highways called the 401. And that stretches all the way. I mean, it's I don't know, what the hell is it, 600 kilometers or some silly thing. It stretches pretty much all the way across most of southern and eastern Ontario to the Quebec border from Detroit, Windsor. And there's a stretch the 401 was never built to go to the cities and towns that were in the area. It barely touches London, Ontario, which is probably one of the more major cities other than between Windsor and Toronto. That's other than that, I guess. So Windsor's right across from Detroit, Michigan, but there's this, it's a straight line, and you're running on a divided highway. Whoops, I'm going downhill. I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing here. You're running on a divided highway, and whether it be daytime, nighttime, you might get some pretty good scenery, but no matter how good the scenery is, because it's just a straight line, it's a stretch, and there's I don't know what the hell that was. I didn't think I said any brakes. Must have accidentally hit something. As I was saying, it's just a stretch, and then even, you know, if you have lots of, like, there's a lot of different trees there. There's a lot of differences in the trees. No matter how much good trees, I mean, there's some really good ones up just before the junction where the line heads off towards Albany, and I mean, the depth of the forest, it just looks really, really cool. I always remember that. Speaking of which, I think I see some lights. Yeah, there you go. I ask for lights and then I get it. I don't know what that is, but maybe it's just the way it is. I don't know. Oh, I got a bridge or something. That's cool. That's just a minor thing for me personally. It just anything you could do to make it more interesting for the run. I mean, Needles is notorious for putting you to sleep the most, but that's just the way Needles is. But then you'll have some buildings and some hydrofields and a few other things, but it's still, it takes a lot of various scenery to do anything. Like here, I think, oh, coming up on the river, like the river, this is one cool thing. Oh, we're coming up to Rome, that's what it is. Okay. That's about all you can really do as far as boosting up the run. I mean, I think, if anything, I wish there was a single track section someplace, but you know, everybody says that. And that's just the way it is, you know. The one thing I do like about the double track sections with the desert, when you're talking about Needles and Cajon coming into Barstow, is you got that one junction. That makes things a little bit more interesting. Actually, a lot interesting. It gets really cool setting up the double track there. Because you got to be at the right track a lot of times. Sometimes you have to run left-hand running to get around certain other traffic. There's a lot of strategy involved. Here it's not so much. The only main strategy would be probably, oh, I got a westbound coming. The only main strategy comes really at Selkirk itself, and then you're basically at the end of the line at that point, so not much else you can do. I think after Utica, that's going to be it for me anyways. Where you see the passenger. Last night I was going to try and get a good night's sleep. I think tonight I'm going to do it. That was the other thing I was finding too, was when I was riding aboard some of these trains, even when I was dispatching, it was, once you start seeing some trains, you see them all type thing. Definitely have a lot of potential. Getting Syracuse to work also has a lot. Like, I mean, we already got the industries in the Syracuse, but to actually have Syracuse operating. But again, the issue that I had, and really still have, is I've always wanted to set it so that I had, at least I could run the entire thing myself if need be. What happens if I either do two things. I either go back to what I was doing and not worry about the humps and just run locals and main lines, which didn't really inspire me too much because, you know, basically it was myself and someone else, and somebody liked to run the locals, and I needed to dispatch, but at the same time I always gave him the first shot as to what he wanted to do. You know, I thought I saw a red signal there for a second on the left hand side. I'm surprised to see that already. Alright, but he's here now, so maybe I was not seeing things. Got my little flurry. And again, just running to see other trains passing through. Yeah, I'm not gonna... Like I said before, when I was dispatching or even doing whatever I was doing, just riding along with the trains, I thought maybe running the trains might give me a little bit. So far, at least on this section, it hasn't been that challenging. I know Ski and I had this conversation too. We're from the area, and it was like, you know, it is what it is, but not that challenging. Some pretty cool scenery, especially when you get up by with the Mohawk River and logs and the Hudson River. Really cool stuff up there. Be interesting to see if the line continues south towards New York, but I believe he's talking about moving west towards Buffalo. For the most part, it's mostly the same. So you get to Buffalo. Well, I mean, Buffalo would be really interesting to see. There's a lot of switching potential in Buffalo. Not to mention the hump yard if you model the era that had the hump, because like Syracuse, it eventually knocked down. But I believe in the era he's modeling, it would probably be active. So you can have some fun with that. Looks like the moon's going down. So yeah, I guess I'll be back tomorrow, and let's see, let's exit that. But yeah, I'll be looking at the program. I'm just curious to see whether or not this is just so you guys know, for those of you who are interested in running, it's a 24/7 server running actual Eastern Daylight Time. It does go up and down. You should check the forums here. It's not a 24/7 server, but it runs off and on most of the time. So, you know, basically it's very loose as far as rules. Whatever you want to do, it just needs more people basically at this point. So definitely that'd be cool. There's a lot of locals. He's got a lot of different a lot of details set up in some of the operations. For me, I wasn't interested. I knew I didn't have much time to run a local tonight, and I didn't really feel up to it. But there will be times. But there's a forum in here, links, all the other stuff. You can find it through the Run8 servers website. I believe the Crossbuck has it, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, check it out, and it's got all the information for the server and everything. You do not have to be, I don't think you have to be a member to join. No, there is no password to the server, and it gives you the IP here, so you don't have to worry about any of that. So he's looking for people who just want to have some fun, and you know, both those who just want to have fun and those who do want to operate realistic and try to please as many on both sides. So as I was saying, I will I'll be looking at the going back into here. I'm going to be looking at the basic software, or the just basic RTS version 2. Probably develop that tomorrow. Just trying to see if we've got anything else going on here. I haven't heard any more about anything going on the California side for Mike's side this week. I was actually on there. I was considering running a local. Then I thought about Florida as well. So that's kind of the three that I was looking at, and I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. But when you go through the Run8 servers, and you can go through all the different forums. So I mean, anywhere here you can go to, like, Florida Southern website, and they will I mean, basically tells you this is Florida Southern, and I can look through here, and then you can find the server info, and try to look at the different things. Let's say about a password there, so I'm not too sure. There is a forum as well. I'm gonna Highball. Too much on here about more servers, but then you've got the various ports. They got 3 servers, no passwords, so oh, that's TeamSpeak. That is. I forget what. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Server. I don't know if there's passwords or not. Into that a little bit further. California Westburg. Well, okay, they got a Facebook. I'm not too big on going to Facebook. I am in Sister Facebook's Depot. We all know about that. Again, there's a Facebook group. I'm more into like Southwest Rail. That's what I wanted to check out just to see, which I am a member of. I have not seen any more posts, so I don't think I'm running anything tomorrow. I highly doubt it. I've got, this is the one big night I have to do a killing if I really want to. So I'm not going to do it the whole night, but of course RTS is there, Colorado. I've been New Luna. Showing that I've seen that before for sure. Colorado, Cali. Oh yeah, okay. So you gotta register for that. Doesn't really say much more about that other than whatever. You can click on these and they tell you more information as well, but that is the servers. And yeah, we've got a Run8 5th anniversary hosted by the Run8 Community Server Group for August 27th. So that's a good one to get a lot of people together for. And I don't know when the next servers I'm going to be running. Next sessions. I gotta really contemplate still. Just because I'm excited about programming for RTS2, and I'm gonna get going in a few minutes here because I am getting tired. Just because I'm excited about the programming side of things and the potential for it. I'm just happy that I actually took some action and started towards it. I'm not that excited or motivated for it. I was last night a little bit. Then again, I was even tired last night too. So, but like I said, I gotta go try to get a really good night's sleep last night because I slept pretty good last night for 7 hours, and I didn't go to bed right away either. After I got off YouTube, I was kind of excited about what I had done, and then I wanted to go and see what else was going on. But it's definitely, I would say, the excitement level. I'm cautiously optimistic to see what's gonna happen, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure. I know what I can do. I know I can bring it. But at the same time, I've always been very hesitant to try and put too much of my heart and soul into it. Because at the end of the day, and I'm not talking payoff as in I'm using the term payoff because number one, I'm not in it for cash or anything like that, or to make a second income. I mean, yeah, it's potential, I suppose, but I'm not that naive. It's not that in demand, you know. If I ever do the AI dispatcher, well, that might be a different thing. That would be in high demand, I think. So that's something I would consider making a payware type thing for. But as far as RTS goes, no. And once once whatever it is that I do, if I ever do the AI dispatcher, it's going to have the ability for anybody in the community to build new routes for it, because it'll be adaptable to train dispatchers. Be a small program. I'm not going to charge much for it if I ever do. Who knows? But when I say payoff, the payoff for me is, what am I getting out of it? Is it going to improve, what operations I want to do? And I can see Selkirk, even a place like Selkirk Mohawk, which unfortunately wasn't stimulating enough, but neither was just doing the Bakersfield project either. That was a smaller section of California that I chose, and that wasn't stimulating enough for me. What I found the most stimulating for me personally has always been a busy section of California, or at least a busy enough section of mainline that warranted some pretty cool dispatching. I think Bakersfield project would have been okay, but having that central yard and junction was at Barstow for me was very important, just like it is at Selkirk. So that's a very important one. Florida, I think, has the most potential going for it right now. I really do. Florida, I am really, really curious about, because that to me could be the game changer, at least for me. And I hate doing this, and I really want to see exactly what happens on the RTS side. Or sorry, not the RTS side. I want to see what happens with RTS Florida, because depending upon what they do is what I'm going to decide to do. And like I say, if it's what I think it's gonna be, then I'm not sure, but I don't know, and I'm not sure if they know. It's gonna take people. It's gonna take dispatchers, and I don't know if a 24/7 server is enough to do it or not. So in that respect, what I may do is I may host another Florida server, so we might have two Florida servers, one a 24/7 and one I would start operating as session by session. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going there. Who knows? Maybe they'll have another route by the time I'm ready to start hosting again. I'm not 100% convinced that but that run right there that I just did on that was enough to put me asleep. It really was. Right? You can't get people here. I feel like I'm like a psychiatrist, because I'm kind of talking to myself and trying to explain what it is that I'm seeing or what I'm facing. So the issue, at least for me, or at least from what I could see for Selkirk Mohawk, was that there really wasn't that many people who wanted to run mainline trains. And I can see why. So you have the people who, yeah, they want to run locals, they don't want to run mainlines, which is okay, because that's why you got AI trains. But at the same time, you can't just, you can't, you need to have a dependable amount of people knowing that you can run, so that you can, I mean, if you did it on a regular basis, eventually you're going to run out of local trains to run. So eventually you need kind of those that run locals, and then at times you have to run main lines. And that's, I think, the dilemma I was starting to see happening with Selkirk Mohawk, even because you would run in the daytime, but then I didn't have anything scheduled at night, and then I was running locals every 3 days through the cycle, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was going to take about a month and a half, something like that. I was running 3, 4. I forget how much I was running, to be quite honest. My memory's fried as it is. It was taking a while to get through that much of the schedule just to get us through to the next day. And when night came, suddenly, you know, we were running the supply trains. The cool thing about, I'll say this much for RTS, what could really start benefiting is the ability of these mainline trains that actually, instead of having that local train, that little local supply train that runs between Selkirk and Syracuse, which doesn't exist, the mainline trains are actually going to be the big players, because they're the ones that are going to be going into these yards, and they should provide some local work or some switching around the clock at various times. So that's something that can't be done right now in the current Run8 AI system. You're either, the way the AI trains are set right now, you're either a supply train for everything, or you are some type of other through train that has nothing to do with the industries. When in reality, a lot of times the trains are a combination of both the local traffic as well as bridge traffic in one train. RTS, and this is where it could pay off, and I may try it again. And I'm gonna use Selkirk Mohawk as the proving ground, because I've already started there, and that's where I'm gonna continue to evolve. Because right now that means I'm not worried about Florida. It also means I'm not worried about California. So I continue to develop RTS based on ideas that I have for Selkirk and Mohawk, and then I can plan them in, because I've never done any waybills for them. So I'm basically starting it right from scratch, as opposed to starting to import other waybills or doing other things. So I get to go through this whole process from beginning to end. So that's why I'm still on Selkirk and Mohawk for now, and it's a wait and see. Wait and see how it goes. At the end of the day, you know, it's got to be happy. But I still say, in my heart of hearts, yes, California is going to continue to grow, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are excited about LA. I'll say this. For those of you that just like running trains in different areas, you're going to like LA, I imagine. For those of you like different areas that could switch whenever the hell you want, you're going to like LA. For those of you that like to run servers or manage them, and if you think the industries you just added for Seligman or something, wait until you get yourself a hold of LA, because now, I mean, California was big. We were so crippled as far as the stress level that the admins had, when all of us were flying off the seat of our pants. And believe me, when we were humming together and we could all get together, it was absolutely awesome. We really pushed the potential to the limit with California. And I don't know if it'll ever get back to it, because there's so many people right now that aren't with us, that are busy with their careers, that they just don't even have time to run anything on the computer other than maybe their emails or whatever, because they're working 48 hours, or not 48 hours, they're working like 80-hour shifts and some crazy crap like that. I don't know how the hell people can do that, but they do. And I'm thankful that I have a lot of spare time on my hands, so that's good, despite the fact I'm still working full time. But here's the thing about those that are all excited about LA. If you think you can manage things in single player now, or have some type of operating system, and you're not, it's going to be absolutely crazy. because a lot of the trains, and this is if you're sticking to operation. If you're not, if you don't give a damn about what the symbols are, or what the industries are, or just run for fun, then I'm sure you'll be able to figure out something, just move cars around and have a good old time. But when version 2 was to first come out, and I was still with an admin on Mike's RTS California server, I made a post and I said I would advise, because the assumption was that it was going to be included with version 2 because there was a lot of pictures that were showing of the LA area. And we weren't too sure what yards were going to be included and everything, but we knew there was going to be enough of them. And I said I would advise that when it comes out, at the very least, you may want to consider having a spawning area off the main line if you want to extend the main line, but I wouldn't use the yards. I would just spawn, coming out of LA or something like that, or even have them spawn in the yard itself. But if you have it turn it into an operating yard, you're going to have a hell of a time, because that yard is going to be building everything coming out of LA. So almost anything, whether it be Hobart, the intermodals, I don't know about the piers or whatever else is going to be in that, but pretty much everything that comes out of LA, now we're not just talking manifest, we're talking about everything. And that's a lot of trains. And I'm like, yeah, no. It takes people to build these trains, and I'm just like, no, this ain't gonna happen. So I'm not excited about it. Yeah, it's nice looking, and I don't want to be down on Run8, because they're building around their area, just like Mikey's building around his area, Selkirk and Mohawk, and I want to build in my area, to be quite honest. In my area, I don't know how exciting my area is, to be honest, especially because there's hardly any trains. But I mean, there's an escarpment, there's a hill, there's a lot of single track territory, a little bit of double track, but not much. There's a short line, there's CP, there's CN. Small intermediate yard at Port Robinson in the middle of the region. Other than that, you're talking about a dozen or so, anywhere between a dozen to 20 trains a day, absolute tops. More like, between all the railroads, I would say in Niagara, no more than 18, 16 total, I would say, and the majority of them are coming through on CP these days. CN, not that much. And a lot of those are locals I'm talking about too. So I'm talking about everything, including the passenger run of the Maple Leaf. So no, there's not that much. But I'm still, because it's my area and because I'd love to build it, I certainly would want to do it anyways. So yeah, I'm still rambling on here. It's 11:11, so. But Florida's a totally different. The Florida's where I say all the momentum's coming, because that yard is something that I personally want to sink my teeth into and push that to the limit. I know I've been warned, do not fill that yard. I understand that. I don't intend on filling the yard, but I intend on using all those tracks. Since they're there, I'm going to use them. And I've got a lot of huge ideas when it comes to Waycross. So for me personally, and in fact, I would say, as much as I love that single track section I was on the other night, if I was to ever sink my teeth into Florida once the expansion comes out, I would just run the main lines. I wouldn't touch Jacksonville until I was ready to do it, because I've been there and I know what to expect in Jacksonville. and I can always expand to Jacksonville. But to me, that section with Waycross to Folkestone and down to Callahan could become very, very interesting, because now you're dealing with a lot of huge runs, and you're dealing with a lot of traffic coming in and out of Waycross as well. So that's where I see the potential, and I really, really want to sink my teeth into that, even if it's single player. And my son's getting into this now, possibly. He's talking about him and I running together and stuff like that, so who knows. But anyways, I'm rambling again. You know, that's so the motivation for me, bottom line, is to keep on pushing ahead with RTS and try to make it as best as I can to make Run8 better. It's certainly really good. I think certain routes are expanding too much. You know, California's expanding way too much, but who's to say you have to expand it? Problem is, that's where all the demand is. So I'd love to see more routes. I'd love to see more. I'd like to see the editors. I would like to see a lot of things, but we'll see how it goes. The positives far outweigh the negatives, but I think there's some potential. If competition comes along, there's a lot of openings. So, you know, hopefully they take advantage of it, and they know that there's a market there waiting for them. Really, there is. There's a lot of demand. I think there's a lot of hunger. I think there's a lot of interest out there in this little niche market of virtual railroading. So anyways, I'm rambling, as I said, so I'm going to bed. That's it. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at some point in the evening to probably do some programming. I might do a little bit of web, you know, searching on some of the webs, doing a little bit of YouTube before, and procrastinate a little bit. But at some point, I'll spend an hour or two at least programming tomorrow night at some point. So see you then. Have a good one.